absolutely beautiful astrology soulmates. It's me, Stormie Grace, and welcome to your weekly horoscope for the week of September 25th, taking us into the month of October. And wow, I have to tell you, what a week I think we've got on our hands. So if you are interested in the kind of content that helps you navigate the week, that is what we are doing astrologically, so that you can kind of see where the easy pockets of energy are at, where the pitfalls are at, and also with some of the aspects that are on the table this week. It's really important that we acknowledge that some of the hard work of the Aries and Libra node and how we behave and how we relate to each other is really rising to the surface. And that can be a bit challenging. So if you want to know what that looks like in the cosmic weather for the week, make sure you stay tuned. Now, before we jump in and talk about what's going on in the cosmos, the digital transit calendars from our friends at Wise Skies Collective are up. They're ready for 2024. And this year, they're not only available in English, but Spanish, French, I believe there's Portuguese, there's Norwegian, they're working on it in Mandarin. And if you've not had a chance to look at this calendar, it is absolutely fantastic. You can load it right into your Google Calendar or right into whatever calendar you are using. And day by day, it shows you what is going on astrologically with a little breakdown. It is fantastic. Tiffany and Celeste from Astrology from Celeste have created it, and I have got a discount code for you. You just use my code Stormie2024, and the link is in the description box down below. Get ready for 2024 with that calendar. It's super cool. It's a tool in my bag for sure. Now, also, we've got the last little bit of time, the last few weeks that my packages are on sale. You get 260s and 230s so that we can walk through the year together. And really, the package is the best for you if you are going through change or you want to understand your astrology more and find the right timing of when to do things, or you want to understand the landscape of where life is at you for right now. The packages will be fantastic for you if that's who you are, what you are, and how it's going. All right, beautiful friends, all of the administrative out of the way. Whatever else you need, though, you can find it in the description box down below, from services to everything else. Now, this week is also a full moon week. And this full moon week, I'm telling you, is really pulling up this concept and these ideas of how do I relate? And it's squared against some deep desires for change that I have to make, but I may not know how to do it. And so the end of the week, I want to tell you, past the full moon can get a little bit challenging in terms of our behavior. All right, let's jump in at the beginning of the week. So starting off on Monday, the 25th. First of all, we are traveling today with the moon in this beautiful energy of Aquarius. So we're having an air moon, okay? So emotionally is the moon energy. So what's happening on the deep insides for you, what makes you feel secure, the people even around you, what you think of them or how you're perceiving them. So when the moon is traveling through Aquarius in this energy, we're intellectualizing what we think, right? Or how we feel. I think about how I feel. That's how an air moon processes what's going on the inside. So it may be, you could feel like you have a little bit of distance even from what you feel, like you're processing it mentally to try to understand it, okay? So this is a day where it's also just in the collective, because in mundane astrology, the moon rules the people. So it is a day where information is flying around. And this is fantastic because we're moving closer and closer and closer to Mercury coming out of its retrograde shadow time. So truly, things that you've been waiting on information for, or you felt like you needed to even emotionally be settled with information, or directions of life that are changing, starting out here on Monday and traveling through the week, this is a good place where you're going to start to see those changes come into par. Now, also, we're going to see Mercury sitting over here in this trine to Jupiter. So we've got the planet of the small mind, so all of the details of how you get a plan done, in a trine, an opportunity aspect or an easy aspect with Jupiter, our big-minded planet. Okay, it's the big picture. It's where Jupiter says, yeah, I think we should have world peace. This big concept and idea. And it's not that it's bad, it's just very big. And Mercury's like, yeah, okay, but what are the details of how we're going to get that done? So these are the two communication and learning planets that are having a conversation. Now, as they're here together in this trine, first of all, I want to remember that they've already met up. But when they met up before, it was actually Mercury that was retrograde. So Mercury was reviewing something from the past or a project or something that had gone on before. And then they met up again in September. And so this is actually their third conversation. Excuse me, September 4th. Let me be specific with the date. So this is actually their third conversation. So I think a starting place in terms of what you're looking at, information that's coming to you, even how you are perceiving information that's coming to you, step all the way back to August 9th. What was happening for you? What was coming up for you at that particular time? You know, did you have something in the works? Were you researching? Were you studying? Were you trying to make travel plans and details? And if you were, I'm sure you got caught up in the Mercury retrograde of things. I know we sure did over here. So whatever it is that you were trying to make plans around at this time, now you feel more positive about it. It's like, okay, even if there have been bumps in the road, even if I wasn't completely sure how I felt, I'm like, okay, all right, I can go on a great journey. I can have a great experience. There is information coming to me. So this is a day on Monday where I would watch what's going on in the information systems and definitely what's coming to you and how you interpret even how you're feeling about the information that is coming your way, okay? Now, we're again going to see the energy of the moon traveling all day in the energy of Aquarius. We're not going to see it move on until late in the day on Tuesday. So also on Tuesday, we get a full day of this beautiful Aquarian energy. And we've got the moon moving into Pisces at 8:15 p.m. Okay, so it's going to be in the evening, but before it moves into the energy of Pisces, we are actually going to see the moon having this square with Uranus, which is one of the ruling planets of this particular sign of Aquarius anyway. So when the moon is squaring Uranus, this is an interesting place because the moon can already be moody, and now it's like my thinking is deciding my mood. And that can be a really interesting place, right? Because the situation playing out in front of me can be great. It can actually be good. It can be to my favor, right? But if my thinking about it is this is all crap, then I'm like having a mental moment that is creating an emotional mood swing. So you do want to be mindful of what you're thinking is producing, not only in your physical body, but what it's producing for you emotionally as well. And it also can be a time where I would tell you, be mindful of yourself. Are you doing something just to do something? Are you attempting with the moon squaring Uranus? Are you just trying to create a little bit of emotional stimulation or excitement? And if so, is it like, yes, it's time in my life. It's time to take on something new, go a different direction. Or are you being distracted from something? And that's why you're trying to kick up a little bit of dust here, right? This is a fixed square that they're in. So it's quite possible that something's been here for quite some time. You don't feel satisfied with needing to address it or to be with it. And so instead, there's kind of this distraction energy, and you're trying to kick up a little fun, if that's the right word, okay? Now, later in the day, in the evening, we'll see that moon get into the energy of Pisces, and then we're going to see the moon and Saturn come into conversation. And when the moon and Saturn come into a conversation, we get a little bit more serious about how we feel. But again, Saturn in Pisces, right? Moon in Pisces is really this understanding, I think, that just here on Tuesday, that not only do we have to stop talking about it, but we have to be about it, but it's also this place where I have to get serious about the state of my spiritual condition in this particular area of my chart. I have to get serious about not only my creativity and letting my creativity flow and be out and being the best version of myself, these things, but also I have to get very serious about my actions, attitudes, and behaviors that are potentially going to lead or are already leading to my own undoing. So this becomes a bit more of a serious energy that we're taking on, and the tone of it is, it's not like here's the end of your life or anything like that, but I think it's definitely an energy where you're seeing something of yourself or around yourself in a situation that is really, it's challenging a bit, and it will lead to a fair amount of maturity when you get to the other side of it. So, you'll have to let me know how that process is through for you on that particular day. Now, when we get to Wednesday, we're still rolling with this beautiful moon traveling through the energy of Pisces. And I want to say too that this is your once a month opportunity with the moon here in Pisces to be by yourself if you need to. Have some downtime. What do you need emotionally to recharge your spiritual battery? What do you need to recharge your emotional battery? Where do you just need to rest and to meditate and to put on the jams that you like and tap into your own intuition? Where do you need to emotionally bring something to an end at this time in the cycle where you're like, you know what? I'm seeing that I don't actually need that anymore and I can transcend from where I was, right? These are the ideas that we get to work with when the moon is traveling through the Pisces time. So absolutely enjoy that. Now we're also seeing Mercury, who I am just still mindful of the fact that Mercury is not quite done yet with this post-retrograde shadow time. So there are still some of these lingerings or vestiges of things that we've been looking at or held up against since the Mercury retrograde that are coming into this conversation with Mercury and Chiron. Okay, Mercury, Chiron, this is a moment. They are not in a comfortable dynamic with one another at this particular moment in time. Okay. So as they are dancing with one another, and where the aspect is a quincunx, so they can't actually see each other and they don't really understand how the other one wants to get something done. Mercury's here in the energy of Virgo, and it's like, yeah, I need information, give me more information, or I'm looking at information even from the past, or I've got all of this information from things from the past or things I've been working on for the last 3 weeks. Tell me more about it. Give me more, right? So that I can do something with it. Because if I know more, I can be better. If I know more, I can set a system. But we've got Chiron over here in Aries, which is the identity, right? And the wounded healer. But the wounded healer in each of us is no longer just looking at life through the wound, but we've made some progress so we can see things from a different perspective. So we're ready to get things done and we're ready to own this identity over here. And I'm this new person. I'm this next version of myself. And Mercury is like, did you forget you didn't pay your taxes? Like, I'm glad you evolved. But like, listen, there's still some things over here that are true. Our patterns of behavior, our patterns of thinking, are things that need to be taken care of. We can't just sweep these things, under the rug or anything like that. So it's like the intention and the motive behind who we want to be and we want to grow into. Mercury is showing us that we've still got a little bit of work. And I thought about this when I was looking at this week. It's this moment, and I think we've all seen it, right? Where truly this person, a person in your life, maybe it's you, is out and they're wearing the new outfit and they are showing up in a different way, right? The attitude's different. And somebody comes along and they say something like, oh, that outfit that's a great color on you. And instead of being able to just take it as that is a great color, it becomes this mini misunderstanding of like, well, are you saying that like the colors I've been wearing were not good? Or here's another phenomenal example. I watched this happen in front of me to someone else and I was like, whoa. Okay, so there's this guy. So there's a guy anyways, and he was starting to get on his way to living a different life, right? He evolved, grown up, done some maturity, all of these things. And one of the guys who used to be his friend and running buddy from the past was there at an event and was like, yeah, man, I mean, like, I'm glad this is what's going on with your life, but let's not forget about this stuff that you did back here. And it really, like, the effect on him, right? And it wasn't that the guy over here was actually trying to put him down. He was just being like, did you fix that? Have you handled that? I know you from this. I don't actually know this person. So then there's like a little snafu in the conversation. So this is a day that it can be wonky. It's like an itchy tag that you have to adjust to all day long. Okay. So I just want you to keep that in mind, that not only you are under that aspect, but all of us. Nobody's exempt from the quincunx on that particular day. Okay. Now, when we get to Thursday, we've got some void of course moon that's going to be happening later in the evening before the moon gets into Aries. Now, this is it. It may have seemed like that Mercury Chiron quincunx was the kick up. And maybe it was, but I actually think that the moon getting into Aries is really where things get going throughout the rest of the weekend, okay? So the moon moving into the energy of Aries, first of all, what we know is that the moon is going to be traveling around the path of the North Node. So we're being asked, even emotionally at this time, even as the moon is beginning its travel at this time, to move towards our own independence, to move towards where we can take initiative on things, right? To bring our own fire to the table. Now, depending on what else you've got going on the Libra side of things, right? The ruling planet of this moon is over in the energy of Libra. So how you relate, how you are relationshiping, patterns of attachment, patterns from the past, codependency, hyper independence, interdependency. These are all the watchwords that are coming up for us and are going to have the volume turned up on them as we continue to travel. So as the moon is here in Aries, it is a great time for self-reflection, in your situations, anything that is in your life and in your world. How can you recognize, even emotionally and spiritually, that you have a part in them? Even if your part is that you're just still holding on to it, feeding that fire. Right? So this is a great time. It's also a great time, I think, with the moon to actually practice moving towards that North Node, saying, you know what? I am having this challenge in my business. I am having this challenge with my children, or whatever the relationship is. Where can I step back, acknowledge my part in it, go do a little bit of self-care, go do a little bit of self-reflection, leave other people alone for a minute, and then come back to the drawing board, because that is a phenomenal use of this particular Aries energy at this time, okay? Now, when we get just a day later on the 29th, we're going to walk around the corner into that full moon happening at 6 degrees of Aries. So the full moon is asking us to end something, acknowledge something, or to adjust something. And first of all, you want to find 6 degrees of Aries and what house the full moon is happening in your chart. Make sure you click the link at the end of this video for the full moon through the houses. I will also make sure that I put it down below in the description box, just in case, okay? But you want to find this in your chart so you know exactly the area and department of life you're working on. But we're being asked to end something, acknowledge something, or to adjust something in this arena. And now all of the lights in the sky are on. So you're able to really see emotionally what you need to do, who you need to be, what needs to be done on your side in order to move something forward, in order to live in this beautiful, wounded healer, Chiron, Aries, coming to the next version of myself person. So there is a clarity here about, I need to do this to go forward. And I absolutely think that that's useful. The challenge for me, and where I think it kicks up again with others, is that, first of all, we see Mars over in Libra. So how we do things has to be very diplomatic, and it can be, Mars is not always clear in Libra. It can be indecisive. There can be too many perspectives. There can be too much to try to get done. Not to mention, the ruler of Libra is Venus, and Venus has been through it and is not officially done with that retrograde until October 7th. So we're in this position at this full moon where we're also going, okay, now wait a minute. Venus is still traveling through the energy of Leo, and it is squaring against Uranus. So the information coming into this particular full moon is like, no, I do know what I want, or I do know what I'm willing to do. And it may not be well received by everybody. It may not be what everybody wants. And this can look as deep as I am ready to leave this marriage. It can look like I am ready to leave this job, but I know what I want. And in that square to Uranus, first of all, it doesn't necessarily feel great because this is creating a stress on the relationships and giving you, the handle over here to say, yeah, there's stress in your relationships. And the only person and the only way this situation is going to get different is depending on the action you take. So here's another way I think to harness this energy or to think about it is that yeah, the relationship, the job, the whatever place of relating can be very well stressed. And you're like, this has to stop. This has to end. I know I don't want this anymore. But you also have to know kind of what you want, right? So as Venus was retrograde through this Leo time, I'm hoping that you found out what actually brings you value, the way that you actually are valuing the partnerships that are available in your life. Are you taking things for granted, whether it's the lover and partner, the children, the job, the connection with a higher power? What is it that you value? And from understanding that value, what do you want? Because if you say to me, I know that I don't want this, or you're like complaining about whatever, or you're stating, I don't want this, I have to ask you, okay, what is it that you do want? Because that will inform this full moon of, okay, if you tell me that you want this over here, these are the Aries actions that you can take, you can put in place. And yes, the road may be lonely and seem a little bit sad for a minute while you're traveling in the honest direction of what you want, but this will be change and this will be movement. But if you say to me, yeah, I don't know what I want, I just don't want this, then you don't need to change anything because you're going to just still have the life that you have. And this is where I think it gets tricky, because the other thing that's in play here, right, is the real ability to not take on making the changes that you want to make to have the life that you want to have, and instead blaming your partner, blaming the government, blaming whoever, blaming your astrologer. Don't blame me, okay? Blaming, it's like, blaming the mother. Oh my gosh, we just love to blame the parents, right? So whatever it is, it can create an out. And instead, I think where this can be harnessed is to say, okay, what do I want? Because that will help me see the actions that I, Aries, can take and initiate, and I can see everything on the table, and I can take action to move that forward. It doesn't mean that it's going to be graceful. You know what I mean? If you're struggling in your relationships and maybe you came to my workshop and you found out that you are struggling in hyper independence. Well, okay, if you know that you still want to be with your partner or you want to have partnerships in your life, where is the training that you can bring into your life? It doesn't mean it's going to be pretty, but it does mean if you're saying I want something different, there's a space and ability to learn. And that's a really good deal. Okay, so that is a lot for this particular full moon, and we're going to work with that for the next 4 weeks until we get to this next full moon cycle, okay? And we'll do a check-in in 2 weeks at that new moon cycle time. Now, Saturday, we see Mercury in a trine to Uranus. Okay, so Venus is over here squaring Uranus, being like, nope. I know what I want. Break it down. I don't want that anymore. And Venus and Uranus have done this more than one time. It's split something apart to give you perspective on what you do want. And now Mercury and Uranus are trining each other. And it's like, listen, like, stop. I'm playing the part of your spirit guides, okay? Like, stop asking us for a sign. We wrote it on the billboard, like right outside your house. You said, can you please send me a sign if I should open a banana shack? And we have a dancing banana downstairs and you're missing it. Right? So laugh, lighten up the signs, the requests that you've made. They've been heard, they've been received. Your help, your helpers are on the way. Stay open. When Mercury and Uranus are dancing together, stay open. Now, likely even the things that you felt like in the last 3 weeks when Mercury was retrograde, where you're like, I don't know how I'm going to solve that, or I don't know where that information's at. this is it. And it can be intense because, again, if you're saying, I want to keep a certain relationship, or I want to have a certain relationship, or I want to show up in a certain way, it can be intense to find your teacher, find your tribe, find out information about yourself. But whatever it is here, if you keep the attitude of gratitude, flexibility, and being open to experiment with the life that you'd like to create, I think you can do wonders with this. Now, this isn't our first time seeing this. We saw it in January twice, and now we're seeing it again. So at the beginning of January, at the end of January, what were you needing to be a little bit more open-minded about? During this retrograde of Mercury, what were you needing to look at, go back over? You needed more information, things like this. And now you're ready to do something with that. Man, please let me know in the comment section down below what that is. Now, to help integrate that information, we get later in the day, and we're going to see another void of course moon before the moon pops into the energy of Taurus. So this is nice because we need to settle. We need to settle. It's been a lot when we've been called and challenged to look at the fact that we are having the experiences we're having because of things that we are or are not doing. This is a lot. This is what the Aries Libra axis is calling to our attention. So we do need time to set and to settle with the information that's been delivered to us, and to remember to check in and ground our energies and treat ourselves like we are the beautiful works in progress that we genuinely are. And so this is a great time during the month. This is your month check-in, ground your energy, make something beautiful, take care of yourself, put the lotion on your thighs, do that extra long thing in the shower or the bath. You're growing, you're changing, you're expanding in wonderful ways. So make sure you do a little bit of loving in and on yourself as well. Now, the moon actually really likes being in Taurus as well. So I think it is a time where you can find a little bit of emotional salve. So, make a vanilla rose ice cream, eat that, be with yourself, love on your partners, your kids. Let Saturday be Saturday because we need a little bit of a break. It's been a lot. Okay, now as we roll into Sunday the 1st, we're going to still be under that Taurus dynamic. And here's something else I'm just thinking about as I'm looking across the sky with that is, let's not forget that when we got to the 29th, Mercury officially left the post-retrograde shadow time very late very late Friday going into Saturday. So now truly the players, the information you have on your table, it's like you've got Sunday an opportunity to sit at your big table with all of your information, with all of your decisions, with all of the things that you value, all of your self-worth, all of your self-esteem, and have this sense of sweetness and being informed as you're getting ready to roll into October. And I think it is incredibly powerful because what that means, what you've been through this week, the way that you've traveled has built stability, has built trust. You've learned to comfort and to nurture yourself by Sunday with the decisions and information that have come to you, and trusting your own intuition to move through some of these things, right? Information plus intuition. So Sunday's a really powerful day of a lot of rest if you can give that to yourself. So I would love to see you, make that happen. And then we'll welcome in October, and we're wonderfully in the new season. So happy new season to you as we get ready to travel and move forward. All right, my absolutely beautiful friends, I hope that this forecast finds you well. I hope that whether you're experiencing your transformation or you're in the space of your rebirth, whatever it looks like for you this week, that I am sending you a lot of love. Thank you for always supporting each other in the comment section down below as well. That is something that is absolutely incredible and beautiful. And I look forward to bringing you more content, more information, and more guidance as we get to next week. Bye, everybody.